Hello and welcome into the Big Ten Huddle members call-in show. If you are a member, you get the opportunity to call into this show and talk with us, hang out, have a good time for about an hour. Probably not going to go over an hour tonight, just because I'm a little tired and Zach is not feeling so well tonight. So we're going to make sure we cap this at an hour, and we are going to talk about should the playoffs have spots due to, I'm not wording this well at all. Should playoff spots be given based on TV ratings? So, Zach, first off, how are you doing?
Man, I don't ever since Easter, my stomach has been like a hot mess. So not that that's probably a little TMI, but you know, I mean it's probably even more so now with hearing some of the rumors about the playoff. It just kind of makes my blood boil, but we'll talk about that. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's a good Wednesday. Beautiful day here in PA.
there we go. If you are somebody that wants to call in, the call in link is in the chat. You go ahead and do that. Zach and I are going to talk about the playoffs for about 8-10 minutes, and then we'll get to any calls if there's any there. So, Zach, a report came out by Heather Dinich of ESPN that there is college football playoff buzz happening because the leaders of the college football playoffs will gather in Texas this week during their annual spring meetings. There was a lot of information here from Heather Dinich. I don't want to give it all away because it is an ESPN Plus article, which means that you have to pay for this. So I'm not trying to give away her work, but there was a snippet that I found very interesting, and I wanted to get your opinion on and the opinion on of all the listeners, anybody that calls in. So, Zach, Heather says one possibility, which could be viewed as a compromise, they're talking about getting automatic bids into the playoffs. So, previously it was talked about four for the SEC, for the Big Ten, two for ACC, two for Big 12, yada, yada, yada. We all know how that works. One possibility, which could be viewed as a compromise, is having conferences earn automatic bids through their play each season. Sounds pretty good, right, Zach?
I think there's some good things about that. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
She goes on to say a model in which each Power Four league can earn guaranteed spots through a combination of teams' overall records. I don't love that, but I can see where they're getting at there. Uh, and maybe even TV ratings, according to a source, could be presented. The highest ranked conference would earn the most automatic bids. So they are looking at trying to figure out who is the best conference based on overall record, which, if one conference is playing 8 conference games and the other one is playing 9, I'm no math major, but I think the team with 8 is going to have an easier path to winning more games because they can schedule more cupcake opponents. Sorry, don't want to insult the SEC too much. Just
I
kidding,
was say,
I do.
what conference are you talking about? Who would possibly only have 8 conference? Oh, right.
Right. So there's that. And then also the TV ratings. So, Zach, I'm going to just leave it open for you to react. TV ratings, overall record, should those two things be considered for automatic bids to the college football playoffs?
I'm just gonna say this. They're at least they're saying it out loud now because this is what they've always wanted. They they they
They
want the
being the
best
playoff committee?
the playoff committee, the TV networks. They want the best product out there. And so at least we're being honest now. That being said, I have always I think you and I might differ a little bit on this. I still don't think conferences should have multiple automatic bids. I think there should be one per conference. That's my I just don't like when you start getting in this that just because you're the Big Ten and the SEC in this current moment that you get all these bids. I know we might disagree on that a little bit, but in this world where it seems like that's where we're headed, I think there is a good way to have a fluidity to it. right? I think that could be good. But as soon as you start talking about TV ratings being considered, it's like, why is that the consideration? Isn't the playoff supposed to be about getting the most deserving teams in? At what point is TV ratings a metric of being qualified to do anything? Like, are we going to put Colorado in because Deion Sanders has decided that he has, the best quarterback in ages, who, by the way, is his draft stock is now falling like a brick? Like, is that what's going to happen? Like, has this become essentially WWE except in the college ranks? This is absurd. It's an absurd metric, however you slice it. And yet, at least they're saying it out loud because that's what they've always wanted.
Yeah, I agree with you. I do think one thing that's lost in this, and they Heather doesn't specifically say it, but based on reading the article, again, I'm not going to share the entire thing because it is a paid for article, but I will link it in the description for you all if you want to go read it and you have ESPN Plus. It sounds like what she is getting at here is that leagues can earn guaranteed spots through the TV rating. So it wouldn't be necessarily the teams themselves. They would take kind of the league, whether it's average TV ratings, total TV ratings, whatever it is, and say, this is the league that people watch the most. So naturally, this is the one they want to see in the postseason. I
Don't you
don't
think?
I don't
Yeah, go
think
ahead.
it makes sense for like competitive balance. Like if we're truly trying to find the best 12 teams to put into the playoffs, but I would also argue automatic bids don't find you the 12 best teams to put in the playoffs.
Right.
So if we're going to go with automatic bids, okay, like I do think that there needs to be some automatic bids. I agree with you. I think there probably needs to be at least one for every conference, but like if you have those in there, it's not about finding the 12 best teams. It's
Yeah.
about finding one team from each conference and then the best after that, which should be, there should be a Big 12 and ACC and a Big 10 and SEC team all from there. But you can't convince me that a group of 5 team is one of the 12 best teams in college football every year.
Yeah. Well, and I think a group of five team. I like having a group of five representative because it means that they always have a seat at the table, which in this current format I think is important. But here's where I get frustrated. I There were flaws in this year's iteration of the 12 team format. Like, we've been honest about that. I don't think it was all that bad though. Like, I
I
think
I
sorry,
do
go
think
ahead.
no, I do think it was bad in the sense of the announcers and stuff. Like I think us giving it to one TV network to kind of take the entire thing on was a poor decision. I mean, Joe R says it right here. He says
Yeah,
maybe playoff ratings would be better if Sean McDonough didn't spend 20 minutes whining about the game. I
right.
mean, it,
Well, and then
it
backtracking afterwards too, by the
right,
way.
exactly. So I think that would have made it better, obviously, but I they don't do this in the NFL. They don't do this in Major League Baseball. Like it's not decided by TV ratings because it's not a real metric to try and find which teams belong in the
Right.
playoffs. People
Yeah.
hate watch, right? People watched Colorado a bunch 2 years ago, even though they were bad because they didn't like Deion Sanders, right? And we're
Right.
not going to talk about why people don't like Deion Sanders and all that stuff, but just that was one of the reasons why people watched. It's not because they thought it was good football. It's not because they thought they were one of the best teams in the nation and they lost, well, how many games they lose? 9 games, 11 games, whatever. Like it's
Yeah.
not because they lost. I think they won 4 games actually, so 8 games.
Yeah. 2 years ago. Yeah. They won
Yeah,
four.
so it's not like people are watching because they're like, wow, this 4-8 team is actually one of the 10 best teams in the nation. They are watching because they hate watch, because they
Yep.
love watching a team that they don't like or a coach they don't like not do well. And if
Yeah.
we're gonna start taking TV ratings into it, like it's gonna be even worse. Again, Colorado wouldn't get in because determining automatic bids for the conference, but still, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of the issues with the format this year was where it was shown only on ESPN, who controlled the narrative, ESPN, and like some of the spacing of things out, right? Like, so your first round was like 3 weeks after the last, or 2 weeks after championship weekend. The next round was about 4 weeks after conference championship weekend. So teams that got automatic buys, they had a rough time. I think format in terms of location was an issue, and I think seating was an issue. So there were several issues. Very few of the issues were about how the teams were selected, though, except for the exception of, like, people would say SMU. But I'm like, listen, it was between SMU and a bunch of 3-loss SEC teams. If that's who we're arguing about, I think actually it worked. It worked. Like,
Well,
the core of it worked. So, sorry, go ahead.
the thing I liked best about the 12-team playoffs is it kept multiple teams involved in the race all year long. Did anybody ever think that SMU was actually going to win the national championship last year? No, if you did, you don't understand college football. Sorry. Like, nobody actually thought SMU could win it all. Could they win a game? Possibly. Could they win 2 games? Maybe, right? Arizona State could have won a game. Arizona State could have won 2 games. Very, very, very nearly almost 0% chance that Arizona State was going to win the national championship last year. But it's the idea that teams remain in it throughout the entire season, right?
Yeah.
Even the 4th and the 5th place Big Ten teams were like, still got a shot, can still make it. Like, we were talking about Illinois. We were talking about Illinois in week 10, possibly at the start of November, as like, could they do it? Now they went on to lose to, who did they lose to? Was it Minnesota?
They lost to Minnesota. Yeah, Minnesota.
Now they lost to Minnesota, and that kind of ended it there. But still, like, that was a thought process. So let me ask you, or you want to say one more thing?
Well, I was just gonna say, think about what those playoff berths do for those programs, though. Like, Kenny Dillingham's like one of the hottest names right now in college football. Arizona State,
money for the conference and everything too. Yeah.
Yeah, like they may not win a national championship last year, but Joe R says it in the chat, that game was thrilling, and now they're on the map. Like, what if they can build a real contender, not just for the Big 12, but for a national championship, because they have exposure.
Right.
So
right, and the Big 12 could possibly start getting better recruits because now they have 1 spot guaranteed, possibly 2 guaranteed, to get into the playoffs in the future. I do want to ask you, so this was talked about as a compromise at the beginning because obviously the Big 12 and the ACC don't want to see just a nailed-in structure of 4 Big 10, 4 SEC, 2 ACC, 2 Big 12, because their thought process is, what happens 10 years from now? What if the Big 12 gets better? What if we manage to start getting better recruits? NIL can change things. I mean, we look at Texas Tech. Texas Tech is one of the biggest NIL players in the sport right now. What happens if they start getting a number of players? Texas Tech's kind of sleeper to be Arizona State next year. We'll see. But like, do you think there will be a compromise similar to this? Because this isn't the SEC asking for this. This isn't the Big Ten asking for this. This is the Big 12 and the ACC saying, if we can just play some better ball, people will pay attention, and we could possibly get a chance at getting 4 teams in rather than 2. Do you think something like this could happen since they're the ones going for it? Or are you just like, it's never going to happen? It's going to be the nailed-in structure 4-4-2-2-1.
That's a good question. There's a few other players in this that could force it into a compromise, and one of them is Notre Dame because of their agreement with the ACC. And the way that Notre Dame has positioned themselves currently, I think I said on a previous podcast a couple weeks ago, I really thought Notre Dame would have to join a conference, but somehow they have positioned themselves where they have like the biggest voice again. And it's amazing how they do this and how the SEC and the Big Ten have
Well, their athletic
allowed
director
them.
sits at the same table with all the other like
Right.
it amazes me how many people don't realize that
Yeah.
when these discussions happen, all of the conference commissioners, Tony Petitti, Greg Sankey, the Big 12 guy, I forget his name, like all these guys sit around the table. It's all them fighting for 18 to 12, however many teams are in the conference. And then it's the Notre Dame athletic director
Yeah. And he gets
who's
to
fighting
just
for
sit at the
one team.
table. He
Yeah.
just get so it
They
is
don't do this for any other independent team. Like the Army athletic director isn't there. It
no, no, no,
it's
no.
just Notre Dame. Like right
And
now, Notre Dame has no reason. The money they get, the opportunity they
mhm.
have. Maybe if you get rid of championship games, there's a possibility there, or you get automatic bids from winning those games. Maybe, but
Yeah.
there's no reason for Notre Dame not to keep going along with this and being independent unless teams stop scheduling them, which I don't see
Right.
happening.
Well, and to that point, it would benefit Notre Dame greatly if there is uncertainty for the SEC and the Big Ten, because it protects them from ever having to join a conference. It can, it makes their ability to get to the playoff easier, which he points out Notre Dame should make the playoffs every year the way it's set up. I agree. And I mean, if they start determining that like TV ratings should do it, it's like, come on. Like Notre Dame's like one of the highest rated teams in the country every year, and they're independent. So of course
Right.
unless they go like 6-6 or 7-5, they're getting a pass in every year. It's so I think it benefits Notre Dame for the ACC and the Big 12 to have more margin. My counter thought is, could that actually hurt the ACC and the Big 12 because of the way things are going and the way that those TV deals are structured and the money is structured? Are there years that the Big 10 and the SEC could get 5 in each and the Big 12 and the ACC just get 1? And we saw some of that. We saw some of that even this year where SMU should have been in. It should have been all the 3-loss SEC teams.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think that's the only way the Big Ten or the SEC does this, if there is opportunity for more than four. Because right now they're kind of playing nice with the Big 12 and the ACC and being like, yeah, sure, you guys can have 2 spots. If they wanted to, they could just rip off the band aid and say, no, you don't have any automatic spots. The Big Ten and the SEC have, 6
Yeah.
each. And
It's
we might take a lowly Big 12 or a lowly ACC team, like if you're lucky. Now, I'm not saying those are lowly teams or lowly conferences. I'm
yeah.
saying what they would say.
Yeah.
But
Right.
yeah, so if you all have any comments that you would like to give, the link is here in the chat. You can call in if you're a member. Well, if you're watching this, you're a member. So feel free to call in, give us your thoughts, and if you have anything else, Big Ten football wise, or even Big Ten basketball. Zach doesn't pay attention to basketball as much, but I can.
It's true.
I can pay attention to
However,
basketball with you.
Kent State is playing Purdue this year in
There you go.
basketball. I
There
know
you go.
that mostly because several of you tagged me when that happened.
Yeah, and we'll make sure we get Zach on to recap that game on the basketball show.
Listen, I thought
go-
Purdue was great, man. They took care of Kent State. It was great.
I should get a media pass for that one. You got a media pass for Kent State, Penn State. I should get a media pass for Purdue,
Yeah.
Kent State. Then we both have media passes to Kent State games more than anything else.
We are the Kent State Huddle.
Yeah, watch out. If their fans start coming and watching,
Oh my gosh.
watch out. So I think this is an interesting conversation JR is bringing up. He says it seems. Oh, and by the way, if nobody calls in, we're gonna end a half hour in just because, like I said, Zach's not feeling well. That kind of stuff. So if nobody calls in by 30 minutes in, we'll end the show from there. But yeah, Joe says it seems like the conference that is in the worst position is the ACC. I would agree because the ACC has, how many teams would you estimate? 8 teams that don't care about football. I would say over half of their conference doesn't care about football.
Yeah.
I mean, do you disagree?
Yeah. Well, So yes, and the top of your conference all want to leave.
Yeah.
So like the teams that do care about the football, they're like, screw the conference.
Yeah.
Whereas the
I mean,
the Big 12, I think they're all excited to be a part of this thing. Except
yeah,
maybe
no,
Utah.
The Big 12 has rabid fan bases,
Yeah.
and their schools do care.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Texas Tech. Texas Tech is on a mission to spend just as much as anybody else right now in college football. It's
Yeah.
amazing. I love it.
Dude, the amount of like buzz we got on our video about Utah from Utah and BYU fans. I mean,
Because I said
they
BYU over
well,
Utah.
yeah, you were poking the bear
I knew what
there.
I was doing there. I knew
Yeah,
what I
that was
was
well
doing.
done. That was well done. That was very well done.
They were like congratulating us on Twitter. They were like, "These are the best Big Ten guys out there."
Well, the BYU guys were. The
Well,
Utah
yeah,
guys,
not
they
the
were like
Utah
the Utah guys, they're like, casuals, they don't know what they're talking about.
armchair
Yeah.
hosts.
It's
Like, well,
like, oh yeah.
my chair does have arms, but
Yeah.
I honestly, have I ever told you this is like the weirdest chair in the world? My arms don't go down to the,
Wait, really?
but it's like it's not. Yeah, like the. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I can't rest my arms. I have to sit like this. This is great podcasting.
Yeah. Yeah. So, oh well. So
Anyway, let's go down the list of ACC teams really fast. You tell
Yes.
me if this team cares about football or not. We don't need to do like a range of like 1 to 5. Just kind of blanket statement. Does this team care about football? You ready?
Oh gosh. Yeah. Well, hold on. I'm gonna get
Maybe
this.
we should turn it into a graphic. That would be fun. I'm sure that
Yes.
would go over very well on Twitter.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Let's go down the standings from last year. SMU, do they care about football?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Okay. SMU. Clemson, yes.
Yes.
Miami, yes.
Yes. Well, they care about being flashy. I don't know if they care about football.
Do they care about winning football games?
I don't know because
I think they do. I think they do.
yeah, yes, I will say yes, but
But maybe it's not for the same reason that other teams want to win football games.
right.
Okay. All right. We'll get into it.
Wins equals bags.
Yes. Does Syracuse care about football? No.
Well, define what you mean by they don't care.
I think Fran Brown cares. I don't think
Yeah.
Syracuse cares at all.
I
think
think that's a
Syracuse-
fair
like,
assessment.
When Fran Brown leaves, Syracuse is just like, okay, good what you did. Hey, we got Yankee here. We
Yankee!
can bring this exercise up later on.
Yes.
Yankee.
What's up, man?
You there?
Oh, what do I need to do here, guys? I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I've got.
No, you're there. You're good.
You're good. You're in.
You're on.
Oh, good. I hear you twice, though. That's the problem.
Uh-oh.
Maybe it's your might be your speakers or something, the way you have them set up.
You're muted right now, Yankee.
Okay. Sorry, guys.
Okay, is that any better? Can you hear any better?
I can hear you guys just fine. It's just oh, I know what I need to do.
Okay.
Boom. How's that?
Yeah. You
Yeah,
sound
you
great.
sound
Okay.
great.
So sorry.
No, you're good.
Hey,
No, you're good.
and by the way, I don't want to keep you guys long because Zach, first of all, you're stalwart for showing up in the first place for not doing well. So appreciate that.
Oh, thanks,
But
man.
yeah, I don't have a lot of topics, but I continue to think that next year is going to be like crazy interesting because I mean, who amongst us, like, who's your favorite to win it all next year, right now, in all of college football?
I'd have to say Texas, probably. Texas
Yeah.
or Penn State.
But I think to your point,
JR, I appreciate your support of the Big Ten, but I mean, I can't. I just won't believe.
I just think 2 teams in a row did what Penn State is trying to do.
Yeah.
maybe favorite is too strong, but I think they got a shot. I'm not counting them out completely. I think they got a shot.
yeah. The issue is that even Texas and Penn State though have holes. Like Texas lost a lot more on defense than I think I realized. And a lot out of their
Yeah.
secondary. Like that first game against Ohio State is it's going
I
to be an
can't
offensive
wait.
show. Like
That's going to be a game.
I
Yeah.
would not be surprised if both teams score 30 to 40. Like
I mean, when was the last time the two teams that were the favorites, in terms of the odds to win it all, played in the first game of the season?
I don't know. It's
maybe
That's
never
what's happening
happened.
next
was
year.
that I was going to say Alabama Florida State back in 2016 because I think they were 1-3. But Florida, I
What's
think
funny
Florida
is they're
State fell off a
both
cliff.
playing in week 1 this year too. Alabama, Florida State.
Oh wow.
But it's not that way at all.
No. But yeah, it's a good question.
Anyway, I just think it's set up to be a great year. Really looking
yeah.
forward to it. But
A lot of
it is
parity.
funny to me that Ohio State is still the odds-on favorite to win it. And no, this is not a slight against Ohio State, but I mean they're a completely different. No one knows what Ohio State is, right?
Yeah.
Except for they have they have the best defensive and the best offensive player in the game. I get it, but I don't know. It's just going to be an interesting year. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I mean, I've said to people before when they say Ohio State's the favorite to win it all, and it's like, okay, if you look at the odds though, like they're basically right with the same as like 5 or 6 other teams because
Yeah,
that's just kind of the way it is this year. Like if Oregon was last year's team this year, they would be the clear favorite. But
Yeah.
unfortunately for them, they have 0 veterans they have one. They have one veteran at safety in their secondary. Their defensive line brings back Mateo Uyunglele, but their second best defensive lineman is probably Barry Alexander. Like,
right.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's not good.
yeah, like, I mean, I could be good. It's just not proven yet.
Yeah.
And so that's my biggest thing is it's like there are so many teams that are not proven this year. The only team that is Penn State. And
Yeah.
nobody believes in Penn State.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
JR. I'm sorry, Zach, but JR
Oh, no,
the
go
other
ahead.
day with the Penn State guy. You nailed it. He nailed it, and I don't know if you remember, but in his freshman and sophomore year, they used to show a stat, and it drove me nuts. It said like, Drew Aller has thrown 155 passes without an interception,
Mm.
and it's like, as I said I tried to tag you on some social media thing, but Johnny Unitas would have appreciated that stat, but in 2025. It's like you got to take shots downfield. If some of them get intercepted, so what? It still opens up it still opens up your playbook to other things.
Yeah.
And I just always drove me nuts, and I feel like he still suffers from that. So I don't know. It's like until that guy learns to just let it rip, which boy, he's about as far away from that. Although maybe in some of those playoff games last year, even in the Big Ten title game, that was about the best I've ever seen that guy play. Maybe, but I don't know. I'm just not buying it.
I have a question for you after this, but I think one thing he really struggles with, as I was watching back some of the playoff games, he has the same struggle that Hackenberg had, which everybody loved. Christian Hackenberg thought he was going to be like 5-star, but like his mechanics, like he would throw off his back foot all the time and he'd telegraph throws. And I see some of the same stuff with Aller. And sometimes it looks great because you're throwing to Tyler Warren.
Right.
And it's, but it's just a little, I don't know. I think he has the tools to be really great, but I think you're spot on. Like, I think a lot of people are waiting for him to continue to be the 5-star that everybody thought he was going to be.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, like I said, so when I look at these, and I'm not a big gambler or anything, but I find it useful to look at these odds as a way to like check out who's thought to be good next year.
Yeah.
I mean, I know very little about Ohio State's team again, except for the fact they have the best offensive and defensive player, which, it's not nothing. But yeah, I would absolutely bet on Ohio State over Penn State every day of the week. I mean, and twice on Sunday until they prove it otherwise.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, people
Who?
were saying similar things about Ohio State with Ryan Day last year. Now, obviously, Ohio State recruits at a different level, and they brought in some transfer portal players that I think really elevated them. You know, like I was telling somebody the other day in a comment, like Penn State, Ohio State went out and got Caleb Downs. Penn State's Caleb Downs would have been Trevor Pena. It's like
Right.
that he's not Caleb Downs. That's one of the hardest things for me
Oh,
is like they Ohio State took what Michigan did to the next level by
Yeah.
not just bringing guys back, but also going out and getting guys
yeah.
as well. I think Penn State needed to do what Ohio State did, similar to that, because even though Jim Harbaugh struggled for years at Michigan, he was still a proven NFL coach who made it to a Super Bowl. Like he still
Right.
was proven in that way. James Franklin's won the Big Ten once, but he's not proven himself in that way. So it's really, really
Yeah.
interesting to see, kind of the conversation around it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
who-
people. So I'm a bit of an anomaly as it relates to Michigan fans and Ryan Day. I mean, Ryan Day was a missed field goal away from a national title. He was perhaps Connor Stallions away from a couple of more Big Ten titles. I mean, the guy is phenomenal. And as I've said many times, I was hoping you guys would lose patience with him before you figured it out, but now we're screwed. So, but anyway, Ryan Day is, I mean, in my opinion, has always been so much better than James Franklin. It's not even funny. I mean, if James Franklin could outsource game decisions, right? Like when to go for it on fourth down, when to go for an extra point attempt. And the next time I see James Franklin go for an extra point in the first half, I just I'm gonna lose it. But I must be thankful because I was at the Penn State game in 2023 when he just completely he lost the game with those kinds of decisions before to Michigan and couldn't pass the ball, didn't need to because of James Franklin and the run game. But anyway,
Yeah.
I do think Penn State showed growth last year in the sense of James Franklin went for it in that Minnesota game, right? Late in that game,
Yeah.
he went for it. But it's like he didn't know how to turn it off because in that Notre Dame game,
yeah,
they start throwing the
Yeah.
ball down the field, and it's like Notre Dame can't stop you guys running the ball. Like they stopped you better in the second half, but still, like throughout the
Yeah.
game, this should be your time to run the ball. Like you should be able to go run the ball, get yourself down the field enough to be able to
I
kick a
know.
long field goal. And Penn State should have somebody, that kind of model that they can have somebody go in and kick a long field goal. But no, they're dropping Drew Aller
I know.
back, and Drew Aller is forced to not throw it to the running back because Notre Dame learned. They said, take it away. Put our other guys in man coverage on the outside because Penn State's receivers can't get separation. And if Drew Aller throws it, they're gonna either knock it down or pick it.
Pick it off.
And that's what they did.
Can you
Drew
imagine
Aller
how
did.
frustrating?
Go ahead.
It's so frustrating as a Michigan fan to watch a team like Penn State throw the ball. It's like, guys, this is where you can run it 32 straight times and win. Seriously.
Right. Yeah.
What are you doing? Don't overthink it. But that's just not,
Yeah.
whatever.
Total Nicky thinks too much to do that, though.
Yeah.
That was what I was gonna say. I think he
that's
wants
one
to
of
be
the
the innovative
things-
voice.
Yeah, that's
Sorry,
one of the,
I cut you off.
You're good. You're good. That's one of the. I mean, I've been a big critic of him, but that's one of the things I will give to Sharon Moore is like he doesn't care if it's pretty or not. He's gonna do whatever he has to do to win the game. Now, I think it took him a little while into the season to
Yeah.
figure that out. The Northwestern game
Well.
was really kind of what it signified that they figured it out.
Yeah.
And I mean, it
Put
showed by
way too much faith in an inexperienced offensive coordinator. It was really
Right.
awful.
right.
Yeah, the best offensive coordinator on that team last year was him, and he finally realized it. But that's
Was
all
it
part
true
of
he
coaching.
took over play calling in the Northwestern game? Was that true?
Well, I was going back and forth with these guys, Andy and Jared from I don't even know where they are, but they're Michigan, they're
Mason Brew,
Michigan,
right?
Michigan, yeah, Mason Brew. Thank you. And I'm like, guys, he's holding the play sheet. He's holding the play sheet.
Yeah.
And that was music to all of our ears, right? And I think he did, JR, but Yeah, that guy was he was calling games like he had JJ at quarterback. It was just so like, man, you're so far away from having JJ at quarterback. It's not even funny. I mean, so anyway,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
but
I
Zach,
did
did you?
think
Yeah.
there were some redeemable things about Davis Warren. I did think he threw the ball over the middle well at times, but I think he was at best an average quarterback, and he just had zero wide receivers to throw to.
Yeah.
So the
Well,
combination of at best average and no
well, I
no
can't wait till we
weapons.
all. I can't wait till we all get to see the Michigan spring game because I tell you what, from the anecdotal evidence, it sounds like we've got Larry Moe and Curly again at wide receiver, and it's just not pretty. I mean,
I just want to watch Bryce Underwood, man. I am so excited to see him.
I want to
I just
watch
want to
Bryce
watch him.
Underwood too, but if he's throwing to you, me, and Zach, it's like who cares? I, I, I mean, seriously, we've got to get on some. And every day I see on the transfer list and on the 2026 recruiting list, oh my God, offensive linemen, running backs, D backs, for crying out loud. I've never seen us on any lists for wide receivers. None. It's like somebody's got to call Larry Ellis and say, dude, if the guy doesn't have anybody to throw to, it's not. Yeah, so I agree.
Yeah.
Everybody's talking about Penn State's lack of receivers. It's like, well, there's another team in the Big Ten that could use some guys who catch the ball.
I switching positions here for a second, but are you surprised that Michigan didn't go out and try to find a left tackle? Because now they're talking like that Andrew Babaloa, which he is a 5-star, so I'm not saying it's the worst idea in the world, but he is a true freshman as well. They're talking about starting him at left tackle. It could work to put a true freshman at left tackle, but true freshman at quarterback and a true freshman at left tackle, that's a lot of learning going on at one time. I mean,
So
like I said, they're 5-stars, but still, like it's
yeah,
a little questionable.
So I hear you, and yes, I am. Although I'd still put wide receiver as a higher position of need,
Yeah.
and also, with a guy like Sharon Moore as your head coach, it's like at some point I got to trust the guy. And and in terms of offensive line, I trust the guy. Now, I will say, and don't ask me to name them right now because I can't. But there have been three players in the history of college football who have been 4-time first-team All-Americans, and 2 of them were offensive linemen at Michigan. So if there's going to be a school that can have a guy that comes in and perform in the left tackle, that's a tall ask, but maybe. And I'll tell you what else, and I don't know what this means. I really don't. Maybe you can get somebody on here who knows more than I do, which would not be hard. But Michigan drafts their teams for their maize and blue game, and Babaloa was the first pick.
I did hear that. Yeah.
That's interesting.
What is that? It's who knows, but
who picks them? Is it the coach or whatever for that team? Is
the
that who picks them?
the coaches for the team. Which, by the way, if this will,
it was Corum and who else? Who was
yeah, exactly. That if you want to truly blow any significance to that, understand that the people who drafted him were Blake Corum and I forget the other guy, but it was some other former player. Anyway,
I mean, they're not at practice that other day. Andrew Babaloa must just stand out that much that Blake Corum, whoever had the first pick, was like, I will.
Oh, JR, where'd you go?
It's a good look.
It is a good look. JR, where are you? Where'd you go?
Oh, JR, we lost you, buddy.
Oh, no. Let me text
So,
him.
Zach, I'm going to get off soon because I know you're not feeling well, but it's always great to connect with you guys.
Yeah. JR, you're back.
Oh.
Are you back?
I am back. Sorry.
Okay.
Hit my internet connection.
No yeah, no, I appreciate you joining us, Yankee. It's good. Good to see you. And I was just thinking one bit of hope, I think, for Babaloa. Notre Dame, Charles Jagusaw was one of their big offensive linemen that really helped them in the stretch. He was injured and he was a freshman and he was a boss. So there is hope there too. What you were saying, but also we've seen it before. So I'm still terrified of Michigan. after what you guys have done to us for the past few years. So
Oh, we'll see. We'll see. I think it'll be a fun team to watch. I think the defense will be really good. But it sometimes it does, and this gets to JR's point. It does feel a little bit like, did we empty the bag on Bryce? And now we don't have money to
The
because
basketball team's got money, man.
I know, and not to get off on a tangent, but I'm unique in that I absolutely could care less about Michigan basketball. I'm an Indiana basketball fan, so it's like I don't want to hear about millions being spent on the stupid basketball team.
Yeah.
By the way, JR, if you want to talk basketball, I think Indiana still only got like 6 guys. So, but anyway,
Yeah, they need a big man right now. They need a big man.
Yeah, I know they've got a lot of guards. We're ready to go. Yeah, we'll perform well at the CYO. But anyway, so I was telling Zach, JR, that I'll let you guys go. I don't want to keep you because I know Zach's playing hurt. So, but always appreciate you guys doing this for the members and all that, and always great to get a chance to chat with you guys.
Yeah, man.
Thanks,
Likewise.
Yankee.
Yeah, we really appreciate getting to do this with you guys. So thanks.
Cool.
See
Thanks,
ya.
fellas.
Yep. Take care.
Bye.
All right.
All right. We do have Doreen here. Doreen says, hello, friends. Hello, Doreen.
Hello.
If you'd like to call in, the link is up there. We'll give you a few minutes if you want to call in. I do want to say, Doreen, I saw your Twitter today where somebody said something very nasty about you in your comments, and none of that is true. You're an incredible person and very kind, and we just really, really appreciate you. Not just to us, but with so many other people. And yeah, so ignore those type of comments. Unfortunately, Twitter is full of them. But it is what it is. So
Oh, man.
you won't find anything like that here from us.
No, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing that had happened. But
Yeah,
boo.
yeah. But
That
it got
stinks.
reported, and I don't know if the account got kicked, but I know the tweet got kicked. So
Yeah, Twitter, and I've had to be. We've talked about this offline, but it's easy to do this. I think for us too. But like, man, it's easy to get sucked into awful comments and like unprofessional comments on Twitter. And it's like, man, just like the person that you're typing to is a human. Like, treat them with dignity. And I need to remind myself of that too, because I think sometimes I get, even with stuff with Bill Connolly that he posts, I'm like, Bill, what are you doing? Your S&P plus stinks. And it's like, but you're a person. Like, he's a person. He's entitled to his research. He's entitled to his system. And I need to remember that he's a person and, an image
doesn't
bearer.
mean I don't want to tell him to get S&P plus out the door.
Yeah, or just at least improve it.
Yeah,
but
it's true.
we just want to give discernment, we don't want to tell them that they're stupid.
That's true. That's true.
The
SEC, but it's satisfying sometimes calling people stupid until the end, and then it's not satisfying because I realized that I shouldn't have done that. So
Yeah.
Okay, let's finish our ACC list here, Zach, and then we'll get out of here. Syracuse does not care. Louisville, do they care about football?
Yeah.
I
Yes.
think they're kind of. I think they're kind of like Syracuse, where they care now because they have Jeff Brom.
Yes, that's why I think it's a yes now, but no forever.
All right, we'll do yes. We'll give it to Louisville. Georgia Tech,
no.
They should recruit so much better if they actually cared.
Yeah.
About football. Duke,
no.
Virginia Tech.
I
think they want to care.
They want to care. I don't think that's less of a desire and more of a skill issue right now.
So is that a yes or no?
Yes, they care. Okay. They're not good at it right now.
They just want to care.
My friend Dan Hall is rolling over on, like, he's frustrated right now because he's a big Virginia Tech fan, and
well, he wants to care. He wants to care.
He's not a fan right now of what's going on there.
Boston College,
no.
Pitt, I don't think so.
That feels like a tweener to me.
It feels like Syracuse, where they have what's his name? Nevada. No, what's his name?
Why can't I think of his name?
If we can't think of his name, I feel like
well, it's the former defensive coordinator for Michigan State.
yeah,
How do I not remember his name?
it starts with an N.
Does it? Hold on. We're gonna find it. The football team. No, yeah, you're right. Narduzzi, Pat Narduzzi.
Narduzzi. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not Navarro. That's like a guitar player or something.
Yeah. Did you know that Pitt has 9 claimed national titles in football?
No.
Their last one was 50 years ago. But
When they stopped claiming them.
no, but like they have 9 titles, I think, recognized by polls.
Wow.
Like, yeah, 1976 AP poll, coaches poll.
Well, they must not care enough to get to 10 because they are not getting there anytime soon.
Listen, there's a lot of teams that if that's the metric, there's a lot of teams that don't clear that bar. But
That's true. Okay, so I'm gonna say no for Pitt. NC State, I don't think so.
no.
Yeah. North Carolina.
No. And I'm going to say this because I know everybody will say Bill Belichick.
I was gonna say, does hiring Bill Belichick show that you care
No, because
about football?
it's the same thing with Mac Brown. It is the appearance of looking like you care, but you're
Okay.
getting someone who is past their prime.
Washed.
He's washed, and for some reason he's still able. There's so many personal issues there. I just don't want to. I was going to say something. I'm like, no, I don't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole. It's just dirty. But yeah, he's an old man that is past his prime.
True. Virginia.
No.
Cal.
No.
Wake Forest.
No.
Stanford.
No.
Andrew Luck cares.
Yeah.
Congrats to Andrew Luck.
Yeah. So Stanford might start caring soon.
I mean, if they really cared, they would get rid of their academic standard.
Yeah. No. It's
Like
not
Michigan has lessened theirs, it feels like.
yeah.
So, and then finally Florida State, yes.
Do they
They
though?
finished-
Do they?
I mean,
yeah,
finished-
they do.
yeah.
They do. I'm kidding.
Yeah. So yeah, I was right. 6 teams in the ACC. There are 14 teams. Not even half of the conference cares about football.
If we splice this up and say the ACC doesn't care about football, people are going to go nuts on that, and they're going to say we're armchair analysts or something, and I'll be like,
Let them talk.
yeah, talk at us. Here's the gauntlet I want to throw down. Prove to us that your team cares about football by how they spend their money, by who they hire, prove it to us. We'll prove to you that most programs in the Big Ten care about football.
Agreed. All right, Zach, ready to get out of here?
Yeah.
All right. Thanks
Yeah.
everybody for watching. We appreciate it. Members, call-in show once a month, every month. Sign up to be a member if you want to do that.
Yeah.
And we appreciate it. Anything else,
Yeah.
Zach?
Yankee, thanks for calling in, man. It's always good to chat with you. And you calling in actually reminds me I need to send a message to Andy and Jared to see if we can have another combined podcast, because I love talking with those guys. They're great.
Yeah.
Knowledgeable about Michigan. So
Good stuff. All right, everybody. We'll see you next time. Have a good one. See you.